first of all, songbirds and parrots are well known to learn vocalizations, and parrots are incredible mimics, and some songbirds are incredible mimics. But that is actually incredibly rare. Humans do it, but other primates don't. There's some evidence that seals, that dolphins, so cetaceans, whales, bats seem to be able to learn vocalizations. And there's some evidence that elephants learn vocalizations, but that really is about it. So it is quite unique.
So seals, elephants, bats, cetaceans like whales and dolphins.
That's right.
Was there a fifth one in there? Us. And then the birds, three birds.
Three birds.
Bird song.
Parrots.
Yeah.
Parrots, songbirds, and hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds.
Mm-hmm. Out of the 50 or so bird main lineages, 3 of them.
Now, before we sort of bulldoze ahead, I want to pick apart exactly what we mean by language, because lots of animals vocalize. And so there are sort of steps. There's auditory processing, which a lot of animals do. Many animals vocalize. Would it be fair to say most? Maybe lizards don't?
A lot of lizards don't.
A lot of lizards don't, but many other. Most
they hear,
others
but they
do.
don't vocalize. Yeah.
Interesting. And so then beyond vocalization, there are some steps to get to what you mean by language. Can you just guide me through what these different levels are before we get to something that you would say, oh, that's vocal production, that's language?
So like what we're doing now, what everybody here in the audience is doing, you would categorize under language, the ability to perceive and produce these complex communication sounds. Okay, so let's unpack that. This ability depends upon multiple other abilities or traits or components. One of them is, as we just said, vocal production learning, the ability to produce learned sounds, which is rare, as Lauren just said, right? But auditory learning, the ability to have sound associations, is common. A common example I like to give, you can teach a dog to understand the word sit, or siente, say in Spanish. Your dog won't understand that?
He's getting there.
You can even teach a dog to understand a few hundred human words and sentences, like get the ball, get the newspaper, and so forth. Dogs aren't naturally born with English or Spanish or Japanese words in their brain. They have to learn that through auditory learning. But a dog can't take those words and repeat them back to you, but a parrot can. And that's the difference.
Can the parrot understand? Lauren, do you think the parrot understands when they repeat it back to you?
I think that's the question people have. So people have studied this quite a bit, and a couple of famous parrots. And there is some evidence that they do seem to be able to understand certain things. You can ask them to get a specific shape, and they can do that. So there is some evidence for understanding, but that is something that people are continuing to study. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're having conversations like we are right now. But these are kind of the basic building blocks that lead to language.
Now, why do you think birds have developed this capacity, which is higher than just auditory processing? It's higher than just making noises, woofing, calls. It's actually a more complex function to try to communicate. Why do you think, Lauren, I know that you often say you're trying to understand the why birds sing.
Well, I think that people are probably pretty familiar with the fact that it's commonly, people are familiar with, around here in New York, the skies are full of song in spring. You've got seasonal breeders, and they're timing their breeding so that it matches resource availability. So if you're a songbird, you want to breed in spring. If you're in New York City, because the temperatures are warm, there'll be plenty of food available to feed your chicks. So a major reason that birds seem to be singing in spring, that song you hear, is it's males, a lot of it's male song, and they're singing to attract mates. And that's the best studied function of song. They're knocking themselves out to attract mates. We know now that females also do sing, in some cases for the same reasons as males. But a lot of the research is focused on the males, and they're also singing to defend territories. So a lot of research has gone in focusing on those aspects of song. But they also sing sometimes for other reasons. Today, I just went out to the Manhattan Bridge, and I could hear starlings singing under the bridge as the train was going by. And they're sitting there in flocks and they're singing, so there are other functions of song. Part of the reason they're singing is they need to practice song, they need to learn songs. Starlings learn songs throughout their lives. Not all birds do. And so they need to practice songs, but also song may play a role in keeping those overwintering flocks together.